Hello everyone, welcome to the program. This is Politics Today, live on China's television. I am Sean Okpebholo here in Abuja. Let's tell you that President Bola Tinubu has since departed Abuja for Paris and France on a working visit. The president is seen greeting top government officials before boarding the presidential aircraft. The presidency says during the 2 weeks visit, the president will appraise his administration's midterm performance and assess key milestones. Just also President Bola Tinubu departed Abuja earlier today amidst the early day showers. So much, as always, for us to chew on the program tonight. But it does look like our attention is going to be on Edo State, and we're going to be dissecting what the tribunal has seen or deemed fit as the judgment upholding Monday Okpebholo as the governor of Edo State. All perhaps seems to have been concluded at the tribunal, which is sitting here in Abuja over the election conducted last year in Edo State. We'll be giving you details on that and getting all sides in this matter. What exactly prompted the tribunal and how the tribunal arrived at a judgment, how the parties, according to the tribunal, are not able to convince it to upturn and nullify the election of APC's Monday Okpebholo. And we'll be hearing from all sides tonight. Stick around with me. We need to now check out some of your political roundup stories.
As part of efforts to restore peace in Rivers State, a coalition of civil rights organizations led by the Center for Credible Leadership and Citizens Awareness is calling on relevant security and anti-corruption agencies to thoroughly investigate the allegations made by the former head of service of the state, Mr. George Waike. Addressing a news conference in Abuja, the convener of the group, Mr. Gabriel Wampo, says the allegations made by the former Rivers State head of service are weighty, which requires impartial and comprehensive investigation.
We call for a comprehensive and impartial investigation into the alleged arson and any related activities that threaten the legislative integrity of Rivers State. We call on the Inspector General of Police to investigate and make public a comprehensive report of the immediate and remote causes of the bombing or burning of Rivers State House of Assembly.
Leaders of the host communities of Nigeria producing oil and gas are asking President Bola Tinubu to contest the 2027 presidential election. They said his re-election would enable him to continue his reforms, which is targeting Nigeria's economic recovery, stability and growth. The president of the group, Mr. Benjamin Tamara Nabi, made the call at a news conference in Abuja.
President Bola Tinubu, Eyinoka, Leka, AC. Pardon me, it means if you are done again, sir, for another 4 years, comes 2027.
From Enugu State, Governor Peter Mbah has officially received the former governorship candidate in the 2023 governorship election, Mr. Chijioke Edeoga, who recently defected to the People's Democratic Party at the government house in Enugu. In a speech, Mr. Edeoga expressed his commitment to contributing to the well-being and progress of the party in the state. While responding, Governor Mbah appreciates Mr. Edeoga for taking the right decision and assured that he will be treated equally with other members of the party without discrimination.
In Enugu, as you already know, our decisions and our activities continue to be shaped by the interest of our people, and also making sure that there is no section of the state that is left out in our development plan.
Relatives and members of the community in Okpebholo, where the suspended River State Governor Sine Alai Fubara comes from, have joined in calling on President Bola Tinubu to reconsider the state of emergency he declared in the state. Speaking at a press briefing in Okpebholo, the governor's kinsman emphasized Mr. Fubara's reputation as a man of peace and integrity, suggesting that the president's decision may have been influenced by misleading information. They're calling on the president to reconsider his decision on the state of emergency in the state.
Thank you so much, everyone, for staying with us. There you have it. You've been served with your political roundup stories. An action that happened today before the president departed Abuja is the fact that he has approved the reconstitution of the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited, NNPCL, and its board, removing the chairman, Chief Pius Akinyelure, and the group chief executive officer, Malam Mele Kyari, in a statement by special advisor to the president and information, Bayo Nonuga. In the early hours of today, President Tinubu removed all other board members appointed with Akinyelure and Kyari in November 2023. The new 11-man board as Engineer Bashir Ojulari as the group CEO and Hamadu Kida as the non-executive chairman. And Chief Olabode George, a member of the PDP's Board of Trustees, has been speaking on the state of the nation and is in the warning that Nigeria needs to be careful so that it doesn't descend into a pitiable fall. Chief Bode George is particularly warning that what is happening to the senator representing Kogi Central and the National Assembly, Senator Natasha Akpotu, who has been suspended by our colleague, is not what should be getting the attention of the nation. Rather, important issues of state. He's spoken about the issues in River State and the suspension of the governor and his deputy, according to him, without a mandatory 2/3 approval, which he said, according to him, rubber stamped by the National Assembly, what he calls the unconstitutional action by voice vote. Let's now get our attention and our fingers to pinch on the major issue of the day, and which is the Edo State Governorship Election Tribunal and the outcome. So, in the early hours of the day, the Tribunal started and began to read out its verdict. And first, it was the verdict of the Action Alliance, which the Tribunal dismissed the petition. The petition basically challenged the election of Governor Monday Okpebholo and the APC candidate at that election. The three-member panel, led by Wilfred Pochi, held that the petition filed by AA alongside his national chairman, Dekunle Omoaje, lacked merit. The tribunal held that the petition touched on pre-election issues, which it lacked the requisite jurisdiction to entertain. The petition has alleged that Independent National Electoral Commission excluded its lawful candidate in the governorship election, which was held on the 21st of September 2024. They also alleged that, contrary to various court judgments, the INEC accepted and recognized a candidate that the party did not validly nominate. The petitioners also alleged that Governor Okpebholo and the APC did not secure the majority of lawful votes cast during the election, and that corrupt practices marred the exercise. However, delivering judgment, the panel upheld all the preliminary objections by the respondents. Then the tribunal agreed with the respondents that Omoaje did not participate in the governorship election and as such has no power to question the validity of the election. The tribunal ruled that Omoaje's complaint was about not being recognized as a party's national chairman for candidate nomination, but that his claims had no basis in the Electoral Act. The same fate befell AP, another party, and a party which went into petitioning the election of the APC governorship candidate in that September 21st governorship election in Edo State. But the one that a lot of Nigerians perhaps are monitoring is that of Mr. Asue Ighodalo and the People's Democratic Party, which we understand that it's going to be finalized in a matter of minutes, as the tribunal is reading out its ruling on that matter. But most had pointed out that the APC candidate, Monday Okpebholo, perhaps is emerged victorious yet again in that. Let's get some perspectives now on this matter, and what are the implications of this? There are those who are very aggrieved after the election. We thought that the election lacks credibility, the integrity of the process, and whatever INEC did is questionable, and they gone to court. Chief of them was Aso Ighodalo of the People's Democratic Party. Don't forget, in the hierarchy of our courts, this is the very first layer, the trial court, trying and looking into the petitions, and this gives opportunity, if aggrieved, for the petitioners and those who are aggrieved to take their matter or their case to a higher court, which is the appellate court, to appeal the matter. In a governorship election in Nigeria, you have up to the Supreme Court to pursue your case. Anthony Hayilebo is a lawyer and is a member of the PDP. He's live for us in the UK virtually to speak on this matter. But we will join him in a moment when he's ready for us. But let's speak with Prince Kasim Afegbua, who is a member of the APC and perhaps the parties that is getting a bit of a benefit from this matter. Thanks so much, Kasim, for joining us tonight.
It's a pleasure. Thank you very mumuch. I say a bit of benefit. We have won the election. The tribunal has already pronounced Monday the winner. We found that where people are buried there.
Yeah, our reporter is live on the ground over there, and we're just waiting for the tribunal to rise. That gives a finality, a tone of finality. In law, you never can, until the very last second, you never can tell.
Already pronounced.
You know, the body of the judgment, right? The ruling has layers. Until the final moment when the court rises, that's when it's official that it has won. But I can understand your optimism about this matter, because earlier on, other petitions have been dismissed by the court. But how does these, because already in the outside of the room there, at the tribunal where it's sitting, there are jubilations already by your party. I'm not sure whether that is the right location for your party. But then, give us an understanding.
We are jubilating everywhere. So
how does this?
Congratulate me first that our man has been validated by the tribunal as the rightful winner of the September 21st election.
I'll wait until I'll wait until our reporter tells me that the court. I mean,
we also have reporters there. That man, I'm sure his network is having problems. We have reporters there. We have people who are there. You know. So I was there earlier today. I only left this evening. You know.
So, Kasim, what does this mean for your party?
Well, victory is very sweet. And it means that Edo people who have freely spoken on September 21st, know exactly why they voted for Senator Monday Okpebholo. Because his level of performance in the last barely 3-4 months, having been sworn in, is very, very encouraging, very commendable, very remarkable. And so this victory, which was expected anyway, because we have said ab initio that PDP could not prove, their complaints, before the eyes of the law. Because when you complain of overvoting, you complain of corruption, you complain of fraudulent election, you must come with very copious evidence before the tribunal. Because these tribunal men were not on the field, but whatever you are able to advance before them is what will help them in arriving at their conclusion. You can't complain of having problems in 319 polling units, for example, and those who are eyewitnesses at the polling units are the party agents. Then at the tribunal, you came with 19 witnesses. Out of the 19, only 5 are polling agents. 14 others only derive hearsay information to arrive at their conclusion. That was what the tribunal said.
Just a moment. Yeah. I'd like to let our viewers know the optimism of Kasim Afegbua. We do know where the judgment was going. We can almost predict, but it's breaking news right here. The Edo Petition Tribunal, the Governorship Petition Tribunal, has now affirmed Monday Okpebholo as the governor and duly elected governor of Edo State, and is rose from the ruling which it delivered today, just moments away. The tribunal says that it has dismissed the petition of the People's Democratic Party and its candidate Asue Ighodalo. Breaking news right here. The Edo State Governorship Election Petitioner Tribunal has affirmed Monday Okpebholo as the duly elected governor of Edo State. It's risen from the ruling which has been delivered just few moments away, and dismissed the petition of the People's Democratic Party and its candidate Asue Ighodalo.
As lacking merit. As lacking merit.
You used to practice journalism, but now you're a politician. So, that's exactly what I was saying.
Yes.
Now we can confirm it. It's done and dusted by the election tribunal.
I told you your reporter was having network problems. We have been celebrating.
You could almost, when a judge is reading a judgment, you could almost predict that this is what, because when all of the petitions are taken one after the other and it's been struck out, you almost can predict that this is going to be the end game. But there are a lot of people who were worried that there was some leaked part of the judgment that came online yesterday, and this has raised a lot of dust. I mean, it also raised the issue of credibility again.
No, you see, we know what is happening. You know, PDP has been playing mind game. They wanted to create a scenario such that if the victory comes to us today, they will say, oh, we expected this. We have overturned the stuff. What they wanted to do with the leaked judgment was what they prepared. Probably they want to sell that particular judgment to the judges, and the judges maybe stood their ground, because we didn't know the basis for even coming up with a leaked judgment that was so watery. You know, we have said, maintain our position ab initio, Sheung, that if you look at, even if you are not a lawyer, if you look at the presentation by the PDP and their lawyers, you will know from day one that they couldn't plead, they couldn't, support their pleadings with evidence that will be incontrovertible. If you say there is overvoting, or there are overvoting scenarios in XYZ polling units, you must be able to present eyewitness account. That's what the tribunal said. You must be able to present eyewitness account to say, this your complaints. I was there, I saw it, it's overvoting. Even they initially told us they were going to present 92 witnesses. They ended up presenting 19. And they complained about 390. And they had a star witness, which the tribunal described as incompetent and does not even understand what he was meant to do. Because you are just basing your position on hearsay. Oh, they told me. They told me. Were you there? He said no, but he was told. So the tribunal will rather rely on evidence presented at the tribunal to vitiate, or validate what the petitioner is presenting before the tribunal.
You look at some of the petitions brought by the People's Democratic Party, which included the result as uploaded by the electoral umpire. They also presented polling units result to establish that there were fraud in the conduct of that election. And there are a lot of issues also raised as to the integrity of the process, whether or not INEC did what is lawful in conducting what would have been called a free and fair election. But according to the PDP, or the manner in which the PDP is perceiving this, is as though justice has not been served.
So it's very simple. You have presented what you call evidence before the court, but you have not presented persons who will validate those evidence. Because if you complain about overvoting in a particular polling unit, they itemize 390 of them. You should give us at least 300 witnesses to say this polling unit, there was overvoting. Then they will interrogate.
But they brought INEC's own results.
You see,
INEC to complement the result on the ground, which showed discrepancy.
No, you see, that is the story they are selling to you.
No, that's not the story. That is what I have followed and I've monitored in what has been presented in court.
Listen, INEC presented certified true copy. This is the result that we present. PDP brought certified true copy only in 3 local governments. Out of 18, 15 of them, no INEC validation. And they dumped the beavers on the tribunal without explaining what is in the beavers. It is not the responsibility of the tribunal to begin to unlock an electronic device. And the Supreme Court is very clear on this, because there are precedents. If you follow today's verdict, because our people were sending us, the footnotes, and all of that, you will discover that if you plead anything, please advance evidence to support. It is very easy and very convenient for you to say there was overvoting. It is very convenient to you to also tell us, oh, the results were marred by irregularity. But you have to bring people before the tribunal to also validate what you are saying with copious evidence. Otherwise, you will just be fishing in.
But the PDP did actually.
No,
but you look at the timing available in this trial. That was sufficient.
Why 80 days?
To present the witnesses.
Why 80 days?
For all of the parties.
Out of 4,516 polling units, you complain about irregularities about 750. Later, you come down to 390, and you presented 19 witnesses. Where is that done? 19 witnesses, so they will come and tell me what happened in my polling unit when they were not there. They had agents. The agents couldn't come forward to become their witness. So 19 out of the 19 witnesses, only 5 were polling agents. Only 5. You cannot achieve anything with 5 polling agents. Even a layman who is just started, maybe say elementary law, will tell you that if 5 agents cannot validate the elections of 390 polling units. For God's sake, we have about 4,516 polling units in Edo State, spread in 18 local governments. So the PDP were lazy, and they were not properly advised, and I think they just wanted to just please their supporters that, oh, they say there's joy is coming. But the joy has refused to come because Okpebholo from day one, we said that Okpebholo won the election. And let me tell you something very, very funny. The PDP in their situation room, in the letter they wrote to INEC, I presented before here when I came to your program, they endorsed Okpebholo as the winner, but they said the margin of victory was too narrow, 4,000 plus, according to them, 4,963. Now, they said the result should have been that, not the 40-something thousand that he defeated. One scored 247,000, one scored 290,000. So they say Okpebholo did not win with that kind of margin, but this is the margin. That is in their own area. And they were now pleading the court to invalidate outcome of elections in some polling units. And in these polling units, you didn't bring witnesses to say this was what happened. The tribunal cannot generate something out of nothing.
So the idea is that you are saying that, yes, there could be a fraud or there could be discrepancy in the election, but your own argument is that PDP was unable to prove it.
That is,
you think
not even my argument. The position of the tribunal today.
So do you think that the election was perfect?
There is no election all over the world that is perfect.
But you think that this election has issues?
No.
That this election has issues?
Wait, election all over the world talks about substantial compliance with the rules and regulations guiding election and with the relevant laws, Electoral Act, and by extension the Constitution, which is the ground.
Would you say, Mr. Affirms, that what was uploaded on the IRF by INEC and what was found and the evidence
they uploaded the 2020 election results, not 20.
So you think so you know that there were issues with INEC IRF?
Of course, there were issues. That one has been explained even by INEC.
So you think that this election can be based as election that your candidate won free, squarely, and fair? When you have said that the umpire itself did not do the right thing.
No. Let me tell you. I think we are getting a lot of things wrong here. I've told you before on this program that the outcome of elections are decided at the polling unit, at the unit level, at the ward coalition unit level, and at the local government coalition unit. Before you take them to the state coalition, this thing, and results are announced. Because under the Electoral Act, there are procedures to follow. And if you follow those procedures before you arrive at the final conclusion. But by the time people just sit back and decide posting all kind of funny results and all of that, it doesn't add up. And at the tribunal, all of those things that PDP dumped at the tribunal, they couldn't explain them. It is not the duty of the tribunal to begin to help you to explain what you have come to dump at their footstep. So, essentially, they only brought beavers, they were celebrating beavers has come and all that. Electronic device, you have to unlock it and let us see what is inside. If it is IRF, you have to unlock it and let's see what's inside. You are just mentioning IRF now. But for me, I didn't see any result in IRF that warrant Okpebholo winning that election. Because even in their own situation room, like I told you, the letter they wrote to INEC, trying to review the election, they considered that Okpebholo won with 4,963 votes. But that is their own margin, and not for 70,000. And so they were now pleading that the court should, or the tribunal should knock off all those complaints in some polling units so that they can score answer as the victor.
Let's show you moment when the tribunal gave its verdict on the Edo governorship election and the petitions brought before it by the different parties. This is the moment.
For your mandate we shall stand.
The moment after the election petition tribunal declared Monday Okpebholo as duly elected governorship candidate in that election of September 24, 2024 in Edo State. We are dissecting the outcome of the process. We'll be getting some more reactions on the outcome. We're going to break, and when we come back, more on the outcome of the tribunal ruling today in Abuja. We'll be right back. Thank you so much, everyone, for staying with us. We've been following and monitoring the outcome of the Edo governorship election tribunal. The breaking news we're following for you. Just a moment ago, the Edo governorship election petition tribunal has affirmed the election of Monday Okpebholo and the candidate of the All Progressives Congress, APC, in Edo State in the September 21st governorship election in the state as the duly elected governor of Edo State, and has dismissed the petition has been filed and argued by the parties in the matter, making APC and its candidate Monday Okpebholo retaining and reaffirming its victory from the polls. The breaking news right here on Channels Television. Earlier we showed you the moment in which that victory came to the APC, and it turned into yet another some kind of jubilation, and it was a mandate of the retainer standing on the mandate, the song they're singing outside of the courtroom.
For your mandate we shall stand.
That has been it, and on the outside of the election petition tribunal room where the victory was announced, Prince Kasim Afegbua has been speaking with us. He's a member of the All Progressives Congress, APC, and just in a moment we'll be hoping that the People's Democratic Party will be giving their own perspective on the program. And just what we do know right now is that the Tribunal has affirmed the election of Monday Okpebholo as the duly elected governor of Edo State. A three-member panel headed by Justice Wilfred Okpebholo dismissed the petition of the People's Democratic Party PDP and its candidate Okpebholo against the outcome of the September 21st, 2024 governorship election. In the judgment, the panel says Okpebholo and the PDP failed to call competent witnesses to prove the allegations of non-compliance with the Electoral Act. In the lead judgment read by Justice Wilfred Okpebholo, the tribunal says non-compliance must be proven convincingly. The tribunal says the failure of the petitioners to call polling unit officers, presiding officers, or even voters during the election proved fatal to their petition. The tribunal says most of the 19 witnesses called by the PDP merely gave hearsay evidence during the proceedings. Justice Okpebholo faulted that what it termed as PDP's reliance on Section 137 of the Electoral Act to dump documents on the tribunal. The tribunal says it's not for it to scrutinize documents tendered by the petitioners. The tribunal further says the beavers machines tendered by the petitioners remain dormant, as it's not the duty of the tribunal to access the data in the machines. In the unanimous decision, the tribunal thereby then restated that to prove overvoting as alleged by Mr. Okpebholo and the PDP, there is need to tender the voters' register, the beavers machines, and the polling unit results of Forms EC8A. Following this, the tribunal dismissed the petition of Okpebholo of the PDP for lacking in merit. And it also declared that Okpebholo of the APC secured 291,667 votes to defeat Mr. Okpebholo, who garnered 247,655 votes. PDP are challenging the results from 765 polling units of the 4,519 units. The PDP candidate faulted the outcome of the election on grounds of non-compliance with the Electoral Act and the failure of Monday Okpebholo to secure majority of the lawful votes. Because putting that in context, the PDP governorship candidate alleged improper computation of votes by INEC, non-serialization of electoral materials, and over-voting. And giving you a recap of what happened earlier today at the Election Petition Tribunal, which sat in Abuja. Kasim.
Have you seen? You have seen what I've been saying here. You know, you cannot lump or dump, equipment or documents on the tribunal without you, seeking to interpret what you think is inside the tribunal. Electronic devices, for that matter, you have to tell the tribunal. It is not their business to start, fishing in those equipment to find out what you are trying to plead. I think the PDP lawyers, I don't know. Maybe I think the grace of God is working for Monday, because I've told you before that this man they call Monday, in fact, I think he has the grace of God and anointing oil overflowing, There
are those who will say, legally speaking, don't rejoice too much. Just remember,
why would I not rejoice?
Because there are 3 layers to this legal tussle.
No.
And that is if the petitioners deem it necessary to pursue their case to the higher court. And you imagine that it has happened in this country before, that you lose election in the first court of instance, in the appellate court, then you win at the Supreme Court.
Listen, let me tell you, this one is a fatal, judgment on the part of the PDP. Because when you advance to the next court, which is the appeal court and later the Supreme Court, you are not going to be advancing new evidence. Because everything you want to present is already at this tribunal. You are not going to be presenting fresh evidence and all of that. You are not going to be telling the appeal court that they should come and interpret beavers for you. Because at the lower level, you couldn't do it. So all of that is settled. As far as we are concerned, this primary court, the tribunal, is the solid foundation that would affect or, affect the outcome of your case at the apex court. So we are not bothered at all. The same way that we defeated them in this primary court of tribunal It's the same way we defeat them at the appeal and the Supreme Court. Because the law is very clear on this. The law is very clear. It's as
why does it, Kaseb, why, yes. I mean, you are establishing and arguing reasons why you think that the election was won squarely by your candidate, but there is a taint and a dent on the outcome of the election. That those who perceive that the election was fraudulent.
Thank God you used the word perceive. Perception is not actuality. At the point of you perceiving, you are now presented with a scenario before the 3 justices of the tribunal to prove that your perception. You couldn't advance your witnesses to prove it. And you wanted the tribunal justices to go and start fishing for witnesses for you. It doesn't work that way. You cannot be complaining about problems in 765 polling units. You present 19 witnesses. Out of the 19, only 5 are polling unit agents. Then the 14 others were just either presiding officer in some other cases or your errand boys here and there. And you brought them before the tribunal to come and attest to the outcome of election in 765 polling units. For God's sake. I cannot leave my polling unit in Ward 5, polling unit 1, to go to another Ward 7 and begin to tell you what happened in election.
There are those who will tell you, Prince Affirms, that the major reason why politicians will say go to court, because you do know that in an election is almost is an outdoors task for you to be able to prove these issues, issues related to overvoting, issues related to non-compliance to the electoral process, issues relating to fraudulent conduct of the election by the electoral umpire. These are very difficult, very technical to prove.
If you know they are technical, if you know they are difficult, please don't go to court. Why do you have to go to the tribunal? Can't you invoke the spirit of workmanship?
Is it not the reason why people say this gangsterism of saying we've done whatever we've done, we've rigged the election, we've stolen the mandate, we've stolen the ballot, go to court?
Nobody.
Isn't that the reason why the popular go to court?
Let me tell you, it shows that the PDP were unpopular at the election in Edo. You know why? If a party that scored 247,000 and that a party that was able to present agents, 4,519 of them during the election, could not present just 100 agents, polling agents, to substantiate and enrich their case, then it means that they were never popular. Where were those agents that they used during the election? Where were they? You pleaded that you were going to present 92 witnesses in your filings and documentation. The case started. You moved. When you got to 19 witnesses, you say you are done with this case. That we are done with your witnesses. And out of those 19 witnesses, only 5 were polling agents. So it is not compulsory you go to court. And that's my good advice to my good friend Aswa Igodalo. He shouldn't be wasting money hiring lawyers and all. Because lawyers will always tell you, oh, you have a good case, you have a good case. When they get there, they can't even help your case because present this thing you are presenting a beaver.
The PDP will tell you, Prince Affirms, that the election, as the collation of the result was going on that Saturday, all of a sudden things started changing because at the end of the day they discovered that the results were being manipulated. I was at the press conference of the PDP when in their own situation room they said they were assailing. All of a sudden, according to them, the rigging machinery of the APC had changed the hand of the tide and turned the election into the big question about our electoral process and whether or not a Nigerian can actually trust our election and the ballot process.
So, when a child is being flogged, you expect that child not to cry? We flogged them silly. We beat them silly. We told you before the election.
You thought that election was free and fair?
It was free and fair and substantially comply with the rules of the game. We beat them silly because I've just told you. PDP, I think the other time I appeared here, I brought a letter, a review that they wrote to INEC. And they accepted that we won with 4,963 votes. Victory is victory. They accepted. So they couldn't have said that we rigged the election or the issue of Ubaboti and all that. We beat them silly. We flogged them. They need to cry. PDP needs to cry because we told them that the conditions that were ancillary to the elections, those conditions were not favorable to Okpebholo. You had a former governor in Obaseki who was quarrelsome with everybody, who was combative, who was, doing divide and rule in the state. How do you expect Edo people, very enlightened people, very, very, very brilliant people, very forward-looking people, to vote for that kind of people? We said we don't want Lagos cowboys to come and dominate the political economy of Edo State.
So you think that Aswe on his own did not lose election? It was Obaseki that lost the election.
Both of them, it is called Oba Asweki. Oba Asweki. That's how we coin it. Oba Asweki.
So because there are those who believe that, in your party who say, oh, Aswe is a fantastic, he's a nice guy. And that those who feel offended by whatever political decision that Godwin Obaseki has taken. I say, without Obaseki, maybe Aswe who could have won the election. Are you of that school of thought?
Aswe did not read the political temperature of Edo State very well when he was joining politics. Coming in from the boardroom and trying to make an impression. We saw him as part and parcel of Obaseki's misrule. And having served in several of the committees, asset verification and so many other things, and seeing what Obaseki did and all of that, there was no way that we could renew a mandate that was seen more like an extension. Okpebholo was more like an extension of Obaseki. So there was no way those people would give them votes that would make them to continue to preside over the collective patrimony of the state. That must be established. And secondly, you see, a lot of people underrated Monday Okpebholo. I told you here during the election that a man who came as a senator in the first instance, he was a senator. The first time he was joining politics, he won as a senator, representing Edo Central. I said, among all those who are contesting, including the Labour Party candidate, Olu Akwata, Monday Okpebholo is the man who has gotten votes, 42,000 votes to make him a senator. He was already ahead of every other aspirant or every other candidate. So you have to look at it from that perspective. And at the end of the day, the same factors played out. You see, his subliminal humility, his calm disposition, a man who has emotional intelligence, a man people can connect to. They would rather embrace him than those who are calling shots in big... they would rather embrace him than those who are calling shots in big... is it arbiters you call them, or what you call blue chip companies and all of that? Boardroom politics different from democratic politics. They are two different ball games. Aswe came at a time that it wasn't ripe for him to become governor. He can wait till 67.
In election jurisprudence, is perhaps it might be too early, Kasim, to rejoice because as a student of political history, you will also know that not too far away, 2015, a certain Yensum weekend lost at the tribunal, lost at the appeal court, but got victory at the Supreme Court. And there are those who will say, look, Kasim, don't...
Our scenario is...
Not so fast.
No.
Not so fast. Don't rejoice too yet.
I'm going to rejoice from now till tomorrow. I'm going to rejoice. I don't have... I'm a student of history. Fine. I understand the issues. Even as a layman, not being a lawyer, I can speak to the issues. And all the things you are reading out just now were things I said earlier. Because when you see a case, and you see a case that has merit, you will panic. We didn't panic. From day one, we didn't panic. Because we know that on election issue, you said it is very technical. It is true that it is technical. I agree. So if you know you can't meet up,
you didn't panic with all of the activity that made the tribunal to shift base from Edo to Abuja.
No, it was PDP people that were creating sins in Edo now.
But they blamed you. They said you guys are the ones who are frustrating.
The evidence were clear. You see, it is easier for you to allege. They say he who alleges must prove beyond reasonable doubt, so that we will be able to convince the justices of the tribunal that, okay, what you are saying is actually true. You don't expect, when we presented 4 witnesses, they were laughing at us. They didn't know that we undercut them, because we are the victors. We're the victors.
Just a moment.
Yes.
And I'm going to come back to issues of election jurisprudence and perhaps whether or not you sewing a new dress for your party might not be a right time. Maybe you wait until the Supreme Court has declared.
No, any victory that comes to you, at any point in time, you celebrate it.
Okay.
So,
all right, I'm going to come back to that. But we'll take a break, everyone. When we come back, we'll finalize on this conversation. It's to the breaking news that we're following for you. Just a moment ago, right in the middle of this program, the news about the declaration of victory of Monday Okpebholo and the APC at the Edo Governorship Election Tribunal came in, and we're monitoring for you what has come out of that in a moment. Okay, let me bring in, just before we go on that break, the Publicity Secretary of the PDP in Edo State. Thank you so much, Chris, for joining us today. Your friend Kasim Afegbua has been dancing here in the studio, has been rejoicing, and I've reminded him that in election jurisprudence, it's not the right time maybe to rejoice until all has been decided and the tone of finality is given by the apex court. Chris, what is the immediate reaction of your party to the election tribunal?
I think we are disappointed, of course. Edo people are disappointed. I've spoken to at least 50 people on what next to do. You see, the election, to those who were in Edo, to those who witnessed it, to those who participated in the election, we know that Okpebholo won that election. Now, the Electoral Act is there that guides us and that guided our lawyers and guided everything we did. But the tribunal has said that is not enough. I personally am not a lawyer, so I'm not going to go into the legal part of that. But what I can speak to is the fact that I believe, and my friend Kazim then knows, that they are riding on the stolen mandate.
congratulate me, Chris Naikare, and stop all this.
Mr. Naikare, if you can just let's look at it. The position that is being brought forward by the Election Petition Tribunal is as to the fact that the petition by Mr. Okpebholo and the PDP lacked merit. Excuse me. And on the basis of the fact that your party and your lawyers dumped the Beavers machine, and you were not able to dump the Beavers machine and some of the evidence on their laps, and you are not able to adduce a proper evidence from whatever you brought to court. You monitored it. Well, why was it that your lawyers failed you, or what happened? Because that is what the justices are saying, the judges were saying, that you were not able to dissect the evidence brought before the tribunal. You just dumped it on their laps.
Well, I don't want to, how will I put it now? I don't want to start arguing or mixing words with the judges that have reached a decision. But it is clear that we did prove our case. All Edo people, all Nigerians know that Okpebholo won. We had no problem with the election at the polling units, and we made it abundantly clear. No problems at the polling unit. Where we had problems was at the point of collation, and we had people to speak to that, and they spoke to it eloquently. The INEC documents, CTC given to us, spoke to those things eloquently, and our witnesses spoke to it eloquently. And apart from that, the Electoral Act was clear that wherever there is a CTC, you do not even need a witness to speak to that. But we went a step further and brought witnesses that spoke to those things. But in the wisdom of this election petition tribunal,
Chris, the tribunal says your party brought 19 witnesses, and that most the 19 witnesses merely gave ESA evidence during the proceedings. And out of the 765 polling units that the PDP said the result had been challenged, in the 4,519, why was it that you are able to only produce 19 witnesses? What happened? Was it an issue of time, money, or what?
See, it is clear. The Electoral Act is clear. Where you have provided CTC, Electoral 13 or 35, I don't know what it is, I'm not a lawyer. Where you have provided this certified copy of results and evidence from those departments or from those units, you don't even need a witness to speak to it, because if INEC is agreeing with you, You don't need a witness to come and validate it. So, so these are things that will be discussed in the next few days before we make our next decision. So, what the tribunal has said, they have spoken to their own level. Luckily, there are one or two other levels to go to, but this seems to be clear. There are decided cases at the Supreme Court. There are one or two other levels to go to, but this seems to be clear. There are decided cases at the Supreme Court that spoke to the fact that Electoral Act, that when you provide CTC, you do not need witnesses to speak to these matters.
Let me ask you, Chris, have you been able to speak with Mr. Okpebholo?
No, I have not.
What is the position of your party as of this moment? Is it your decision to stop at this level, or you are taking it higher?
We are still studying the judgment that was today. It's just a few hours old. We'll meet, I'm sure, early in the morning tomorrow, and when we look at it and wait for the copies of the judgment, go through it, and then decide on where to go. But I will tell my friend Kazim to be guided. Nigeria, the law is very clear. We are very confident. We are very confident that we were justified to go to court. We are very confident that we won the last election. Such a decision. So we'll
Mr. Naikare, if I may ask you quickly, does the outcome of today, does it come to your party as a shock, or were you expecting that this was going to happen? Because I saw that a lot of the members of your party were alleging that the result was already predetermined based on some online results that were being circulated.
Well, as a party, we did not look at the online result being circulated. It was, from what I read, it was employed by the APC to test the waters. But then we ignored such things. We didn't come to us as a shock. What came to us is that we are surprised. We are disappointed. Those are the words. We are not shocked.
Chris Naikare is the publicity secretary of the PDP in Edo State. And your friend right here, Kasim Afegbua, is jubilating. I hope he will be able to have the stomach to be able to have dinner, because it seems to be all over the moon right here. But I mean, I heard in some of the quarters that the music Joy Is Coming was being played. Maybe just not yet for Kasim to rejoice. Maybe the joy might come to your side at some point.
I can tell you for free, joy is coming. I know people chose that song for PDP, and joy is coming.
Thank you, gentlemen. Kasim Afegbua of the APC, Chris Naikare of the PDP in Edo State. Thank you so much. At the top of the hour, Channels Television News Track will come, and we'll give you more details on the outcome of that election. That's how much we can go on the program tonight. Thanks so much, everyone, for watching. I'm sure Akimale. God bless Nigeria.